that case, everyone, I'm going to kick off. So thank you all very much for coming along for our final presentations for the course. If you remember back to day one of our course, and we got told we have to engage with clients to do our team coaching and think about the challenges you faced. It's that falls the heart of our presentation today, and we're going to take you through that journey. So let me introduce the team. Basically, we acronym ourselves as HASTE in order of Heidi, Andrew, Susan, Tim, and Mark. And to be creative, we've just tipped Mark's M to turn into an E for ourselves. It's actually quite apt because any of you guys who coached with us, you probably felt that about our team, actually, that we had this energy of haste in us and everything else. Okay, so for today's presentation, what do we want you to take away? Basically, there's 3 points here on the screen for you to hold on to. And the team will take you through this on the journey. And we're hoping you're going to find this presentation very helpful for you going forward. So the journey itself is broken into 3 parts. We've got setting the scene, which Andrew's going to take you through. Then we'll jump into the leveraging technology, which Heidi and Mark will take you through. And finally, key learnings, which Susan will take you through. So let me pass over to Andrew to take you through setting the scene.
Okay, so are we showing the slides?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I just want to make sure because I'm looking at my screen there. So really, the topic of how to increase client awareness and convey value from team coaching, this topic really came up for us very naturally when we all experienced similar challenges when we approached clients and organizations and offered our services to them. Even pro bono services were offered. People had questions. People were kind of reluctant. People were kind of hesitating or on the fence. So when this came up for us, we all realized that this was an opportunity. So moving on. So the key question for us and for you rhetorically is, did you struggle to succinctly outline the benefits, the process, and the value of team coaching to prospective clients or people to partner with on this project? We certainly did. And we really honed in on this topic because we faced the challenges of really how to really present the value of coaching in a very succinct, concise, and impactful way. And we found that there was limited knowledge about what team coaching is and how it would benefit them as a team. Even when we thought we were explaining it, they weren't fully getting it. So this really brought this question and this topic into focus. And we found that this was also very prevalent in Japan and among our Japanese colleagues because they were reluctant. They didn't really know exactly what it would entail, what work they would have to do, what was appropriate, what was not appropriate. We really wanted to create something that the whole team could use and that all of you could use post-program to engage potential clients and partners. So, yes?
Sorry, I was going to jump in. Go ahead.
Oh, no. So I have one more slide.
Sorry.
So really, we wanted to get inside the heads of the teams and team leaders to share the benefits, outline the process, show the tangible results, all without taking too much time. And we wanted to provide in a format that could be easily shared and leave the audience wanting more. So the idea was not to present too much information, but just enough to trigger interest. And we wanted to explain coaching to non-coaches. We looked at all of the existing materials. We looked at what was out there, and we didn't find anything that was truly inspiring, really. We didn't find anything that fit the bill. So we really wanted to create something that would just trigger more questions, interest. So from that, the idea of why don't we create something came to us naturally. So our team, we decided to do a video to be used, and in a moment, Heidi will take us into that.
Sorry to jump the gun.
No.
All right, so today we will share 2 videos designed to spark conversation around how team coaching can transform organizations. The audience for these videos are potential clients, new, coaching clients, team clients, HR professionals, managers, basically anyone who isn't really familiar yet with what's going on. We created these videos using current AI technology. The first one is straight up AI. We gave the prompt. This is what it created. So I'd like you to watch the video, then take just a few seconds to jot down any comments, any reactions that you have, and we'll give a poll following the video to get kind of a group feedback. So please sit back and enjoy, but Damian, I need permission to share. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, our team is originally Team Inga, and that will become relevant at the end of the second video.
Is your team aligned and thriving, or could it deliver more? Your team might be struggling with unclear goals or unrealized potential. Training or coaching often misses creating lasting change. Team coaching aligns true teams around shared purpose and vision. Studies show over 30% improvement in performance and 25% higher engagement. We tailor a journey using insights from assessments and stakeholder input. A few hours monthly is a smart investment for transformative impact. We flex to your schedule. Even small teams can succeed with the right alignment. The team drives the process, owning their growth and delivering value. Ready to transform your team? Contact us to boost performance.
All right, so that is the first video. If you can take a few seconds, write down any of your reactions, thoughts. Susan, are we doing the poll in the chat box or?
Yeah, we need to do it in the chat. So I'll paste the first question.
All right. So please open your chat box if you haven't already and respond to Susan's poll there. Okay, I'm seeing 4s, some 3s, 1. Yeah, it's interesting to see that I'm kind of surprised how high it is and a 4 comes out of there. Yeah, curious about the 30% improvement. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. All right, let's take a minute here and watch the second video. The second video is initially from the same AI assisted script.
So Heidi, there's 2 more questions.
Oh, sorry, forgot about that. Then how are we time wise?
I think we're okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 2, 3.
I would love to ask some people how you calculate 2.8.
I know.
Very calculated.
Very precise.
The very same way that AI calculated 30% or 25%.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So I'm gonna share the third question just right now too.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, for the third question, we're coming in with 3s, 1s, 2s. Okay. All right, now I'm going to share the second video. The second video is the same AI assisted script. This time we put our hands into the video a little bit, made some adjustments, changed some graphics, adjusted some of the comments that the AI came up with. And at the end, it does say something with Team Inga. Do not click on that link. We don't own it. So just a heads up there.
Is your team aligned and thriving, or could it deliver more for your stakeholders? Let's explore how team coaching can unlock your team's potential. Your team might be struggling with unclear goals or not fully using their strengths. You're good, but you could be exceptional, driving innovation, engagement, and stakeholder value. Training, workshops, or team building help, but they often miss the mark on creating systemic, lasting change. Team coaching is different. It's a dynamic process that aligns a true team, interdependent with shared purpose, around vision, mission, and stakeholder needs. Why team coaching? It delivers results. Studies show over 30% improvement in team performance and 25% higher engagement. We use insights from interviews, assessments, or stakeholder input to co-design a tailored journey. Confidential sessions foster honest dialogue. The commitment? A few hours monthly, a smart investment for transformative impact, and a willingness to embrace growth together. No time? We flex to your schedule. Too small? Even compact teams soar with alignment. Need Japanese? We've got you covered. The team drives the process, reflecting, aligning, and owning their growth. The result? A high-performing unit that delivers extraordinary value. Ready to transform your team? Contact us at www.teaminga.com to ignite alignment, boost performance, and deliver unmatched stakeholder value. Your team's future starts now.
All right, that is the second.
I need this the website.
Yeah, I checked. It's available for about $6 actually, if you want to buy it. Yeah. All right, so if you can respond to the poll. So essence of team coaching, I'm seeing 2s, 3s, 4s, a 2.75, okay. And 4, yeah. That seems a little bit higher for some people, a little bit lower for some people compared to the first video. Susan, do we have the second question ready to go? So on a scale of 1 to 5, how well does this video describe team coaching's impact? Ooh, we got a good work from Brian. Yeah, 3s, 4s, considerably higher than the first video. And Susan, do we have the third question ready? So in terms of experiencing challenges, how well does the video highlight the team coaching as a solution?
Heidi, I need to ask, sorry, not clear with understanding this one. I haven't answered it before. Is it call to action? How much this video makes me to contact you to ask more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or how does it make you want to just investigate team coaching in general as well? Yeah, there's quite a spread again from 2s to 4s. All right, thank you for responding to the poll. I'm going to hand over to Mark. He will do a little bit more debrief. So Mark.
Okay, thanks a lot for your input. Because we didn't have the polls, it's a little bit more challenging to assess. But the simple question is, raise your hand if you thought video 1 was more effective in explaining what team coaching is and how it benefits a team. Video 1. Wes, you're the only guy out there. Perhaps you could just tell us briefly, Wes, what it is that you think is effective about the video. Thank you.
I think that I like the images of real people, even if they're AI generated, they look closer to real people. So I think that's the part that probably stands out the most for me.
All right, thank you. So obviously then video 2, wait, let's just get the show of hands because it's going to look really cool. More effective explaining what team coaching is and how it's effective and how it benefits a team. All right, so we got it. So perhaps you could just bear the feedback in mind that you just gave, but share a couple of points that made you think that video 2 was actually the winner here. I'll invite you to come off mute and just go popcorn style. We have time for a few comments. Go ahead, Chad.
I felt the script was better on video 2, regardless of the images behind it, just the written word and the voiceover.
Any specific points that resonated with you, made you feel like that?
I didn't take that detail to note, sorry.
Okay, thanks.
I can add something specific here, and I think that it was Brett who mentioned it. There was a lot of movement happening in the first video, and actually text didn't align so much with voiceover. It was much better aligned in the second video. So I had an assumption that they more or less said similar things, even 30-25%, that the first video just made me to concentrate more, and the second was a little bit slower and the alignment was better. So what I read and what I heard happened at the same time, which for me, English is a second language, is always makes me a little bit distracted when the words written and spoken are in a different order, yeah, somehow. So that for me, this is the effectiveness. However, in terms of call to action, I would love to have clearer call to action at the end of each video. Like something really like not only call us if you want to know more, yeah, but something like something more specific, so that can really call you and learn more about that.
Thank you. You got time, Mohammed, please.
Oh, just very briefly, the language resonated with me. The word choices resonated with me. The second video, I mean. And I felt impacted.
Can you give an example, perhaps, of some language that particularly stood out for you?
At the very beginning, you said alignment, stakeholders, and I started it impacted me, and transformative. Team drives the process and all that. So yeah.
All right. Well,
what I was thinking is that the second one was longer too. So you have more time to make the point. That's the reason why I chose the second one. And I think it was more specific. You were more precise about the process or about some points. Like it seemed that the first one was good. I was blown away by the way how well done by AI. I was trying still to figure out how you did that. I will ask about that later. But I think that the second one was more precise, and this is what is difficult sometimes to convey for people to absorb and to get them to really understand what team coaching is, because it's not only explaining, but also people absorbing it, understanding it, and integrating it. So,
all right, thank you. I know, Susie, you want real quick if you can.
Just adding the tone of voice. I think it was more convincing, more human, the second one. The first one sounded to me like a marketing TV commercial.
Yeah.
And the second one was more like a coach speaking. And it had the same information almost, but it was the tone of voice and it was more like human, adding up to everybody's.
Thank you, Susie. I'm going to stop the comments there for the sake of time. So yeah, we got great feedback. Really appreciate that. You know, we're looking at these videos, we can't see the wood for the trees. So yeah, we want to have a more specific CTA call to action. The second one kind of outlined the process in a more precise way. It was longer. There was more information. Some of the words resonated with you. So that's great feedback. So yeah, just a couple of points about the videos. So we really went for sort of a casual definition of coaching, sort of not the textbook definition, because we really wanted language that people could relate to. And also we tried to think about the objections that people would raise and preempt them, because once anybody's raised an objection, they tend to stick to it even if it's dealt with afterwards. So preemptively, we dealt with the issues of time and process and so on. And in the research we basically used from our own experience reaching out, as Andrew alluded to earlier, you know, when we were asking people, would they be interested in it, and asking what it is, and then like, oh no, we don't have the time for this. And the other things that they wanted to know was around ROI, obviously time commitment, process, and other issues that team coaching can help with. So it really gave us an opportunity to sort of like use those in a proactive way. Others really wanted to know how the coaching was done, and it was helpful to see the team coaching from the perspective of somebody who isn't really sold on it. So anyway, we ended up experimenting with a bunch of different AI platforms, and I said we created maybe about 10 videos. So these are just the two that we came up with at the end, and it was great to get your impact. So let me hand over to Susan to talk about what was our experience as a team in creating a presentation. Thank you, Susan.
Okay, so welcome, and let's look at Team Inga. When we started, we struggled to find a topic, and then when we found a topic, we struggled to find an outline. And once we came up with a video idea, everybody became much more energized because we could see how we could use it, and how we could use our creativity. So we were able to assign tasks and split up and do the work. And once we did that, things started moving faster. But as we worked separately, we could see that we would move away from the purpose and the objective a little bit, and we'd have to come back and realign multiple times, just like a real team. So we think that might have been because somebody was always absent, but it might also have been because we weren't truly as committed as we thought to the idea. Okay, so where do we go from here? We achieved our objective, something we can all use, these video templates, plus all the building blocks that went into making them. We're going to stay connected in Japan. We learned a lot from coaching Team Susie, but also from being a team and being coached as we're learning about it. That was quite impactful. So as we close our presentation today, I just want you to think about how many more organizations you could approach if you had a simple video like this one. And the good news is, in return for your input and attention today, we are going to share the video on Basecamp, so just keep your eyes out there for it. Here we go.
Yeah, and we'll take off the Team Inga thing at the end so you can put in your own information.
Great. Thank you. Congratulations. Let's recognize this team for the presentation. Really very creative and with a resource that can be used by everybody to inform others about what is team coaching. So let's open, we have 10 minutes for questions and answers and comments. So let's start by our guests. Anybody have any questions that you would like to ask to the
Yeah, I'll jump in if I can. So it's no secret I didn't like the first video. In either case, I didn't understand what team coaching really means in either video, and I'm wondering, is that on purpose? Is that because the HR people you want to approach are already so familiar with it? I didn't get the what.
Okay, I'll take that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Susan.
Well, we kind of struggled with this, and we realized we each have different perspectives at what we wanted. So we struggled with it a little bit, and I think if you look back at how we created the video, it wasn't quite as clear in our outline that we fed, and I think if we were to do it again, that's something I recognize as well. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that yes, in a way, Brett, we did leave people in that position of wanting more information. Therefore, we kept our explanation more geared towards the benefits rather than the process and the definitions.
Okay.
And just to also build on that, Brett, as Mark said in the presentation, the language chosen for these videos is strategic. It is about really connecting with the clients and not bringing in a lot of coaching language and a lot of coaching jargon, which the clients do not understand. It is something that's got to connect and resonate with them to have a conversation.
Okay, but they're not the people that you are going to approach, especially in Japan, I imagine. A lot of them won't really have an idea of what team coaching really means and what it really is. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Many people don't. That's right. And the video is to trigger that conversation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And this is good feedback for you too. It's like, okay, is there anything else that can be done in future videos? Because my question is after Paul and Wes is what kind of software do you use to do this? There is always an opportunity to learn from that. So Paul, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm curious. Were you trying to hit all possible needs or that sound, oh, sorry, I'm upside down, but.
Cool.
But basically, that's my question.
We can still hear you. We can still hear you. So okay.
You can hear. Okay. So no, I'm just curious if you were trying to hit all the needs, or if you know, like for Japan, what is there kind of some more select needs that you're trying to create some interest?
I'll jump in then. Okay. Paul, actually, when we were designing and scripting the videos, it wasn't to capture everything, because obviously we identified many, many different needs. But if we put everything into a video, it's not going to work because it's too much information. So what we did was we brought it into key information, again with the objective of triggering a conversation. This is about having a conversation, getting somebody interested in coming for that conversation with us, so then we can talk more with them about it.
Yeah. So it's really, we want them to come to us with questions about what they see and what, for them to feel motivated to talk to us more about what it means for them. So strategically, we did not include all the information, as Tim mentioned.
One of the things we did do was when we talked to about 21 people or different companies, potential clients, and the things they asked us about were how much time does it take and what is the ROI, and those were the main questions. A few people did ask what the steps, but really everybody asked those, and so that was kind of the focus.
Right.
The other thing, just to build out the two videos, you have one which people talked about had people in it. The other one was animation. Now, the reason for this is actually in Japan, animation works stronger. You pick up any self-development book, it is animation. It is like a cartoon book for self-development. It resonates strongly in the Japanese market. So that's why we created two versions of the videos, one with people, one as an animation version.
Wes?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that comment, Tim. So I had the same question as Damian. I just wanted to know what software you used for this. But a comment, which is, I think this was awesome, like a really cool idea. I think one of the themes that I've learned through this course and through working with the clients that I've worked, but also seeing everybody else's work into supervision or hearing about it, is that people don't know what team coaching is. And there's this sort of ramp up period at the very beginning that is slow because of that. And so I think stuff like this is a really creative idea that I think is yeah, I just thought it was really good. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah, I can answer on what software this is. Mark and I were in charge of the video segment, and we tried a few different sites. We settled on RenderForest because it had the most flexibility for our purposes, and they have a free plan. That is definitely going to make it access easy for people who want to just get started, try it, see if this works for them. Incidentally, the voice used in both videos is the same voice. It's the same AI voice, but it really highlights how personalizing the script will make it a lot stronger than just going with the AI created script.
Wow.
Wow.
Go away by that. Susie?
Yeah, well, congratulations. I think it was very creative. I just think you did a great job. My question is totally different. And my question is, maybe you can summarize really quickly, what was your team dynamics working to put this together? How did you work together? What happened?
Well, I'll come out because I'm the one that just says whatever. So what we learned is we have a lot of different personalities and a lot of different ways of presenting ourselves. And in this group, I'm kind of the oddball because while I'm in Japan, I won't be here long. And the chances that I have a Japanese client, even while I'm here, are pretty slim. That's not really my market. So I was kind of the odd man out here. Most of our team has worked together before. So it's me and Mark, right? I think. correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, that who haven't really worked all together before. So Mark and I were kind of the polar opposites on the team, and Mark is like super driven and got us really far, and I'm sort of, you know, not that way, but you know, so we kind of went back and forth on how to present ourselves, how much is it marketing, how much is it information, you know, and that kind of happened. And but I don't think, I mean, maybe Mark is secretly seething, but I think we didn't get upset too much. We were just trying to do the work. So
well, actually, we showed up very supportive of each other, and there was a lot of hesitation at the beginning and being polite, kind of in the forming stage, but we really quickly moved beyond that into performing. We didn't really have any conflict other than a brief period where we felt like we weren't getting anywhere. But we were able to show up and provide the feedback and really clarify, you know, how do we communicate with one another? How do we step in? How do we jump in? You know, that conversation, we did have one that really clarified how we can show up and do the work. And so
I guess
overall,
building on what Andrew said there, early on in our team, though, we set out what do we want from the experience.
Yeah.
This was a critical point. That's why when we talked about this video, we said we want something we can take away. We want something to use. So as a team, we defined that very, very early in our process, what we wanted. Then with the help of Heidi and all the different team members, we storyboarded out our timeline of what we wanted done by when. So we have a Google document. Everything's in this Google document. It's got multiple layers to it, showing exactly what we're doing. In fact, even that presentation is it's got a facilitator script to it for this presentation that we had today. Who's saying what, and a general script, and then we adapted that basically. So we had multiple offline meetings basically. So even prior to this morning, we met this morning prior to this session. So we put a lot of our effort in there to make what it is happen.
And let me jump in there that we had to do a lot of effort because, as Susan mentioned, we were always missing somebody. And some weeks we were missing everybody except for like 1 or 2 people. So trying to work around schedules, it took a lot of teamwork and intentionality of how do we include everyone who is not physically present in a conversation.
And this is what happened many times in teams, isn't it? Like not all members are there, and so some of the challenges that you were facing are very common in virtual teams. So Rob, we have time for one last question.
Can I add to this a little bit, because I was every time with the team, probably as the only person in the room as a facilitator. And there was something really unique, and actually you inspired me to think about this quality. You were very comfortable with unknown and with discomfort. Not only you declared it, but I've seen it in you as well. So whatever happened there, like team coach with the ideas, me trying to create something so you know that we can have some coaching, working on something. Yeah, you were very comfortable with discomfort, and I start to think about it as a important element of an effective teams as well. So I really appreciate not only that I learned from you what AI tool to use to make videos, because that's a great learning thing for a solopreneur like me, but as well that's interesting aspect I haven't taken into consideration yet when I was observing the teams. Yeah. So Susie, that's what I've seen. They were very, very comfortable with unknown.
Okay.
Yeah, and we started to have fun at one stage in the journey, and it was like, I don't know, it was like there was definitely a shift where we started to enjoy it. I mean, I'm speaking for myself here, but I hope I'm speaking for everybody else. But there was a point where we actually started to enjoy the meetings and sort of have a bit of fun around things as well. And looking back at, now looking back with the benefit of hindsight, I can see that we've all actually used our strengths very well together. It was messy, like Inga was saying, and we were okay with that, but it worked out. I think it worked out in the end anyway. So thank you.
We need to start wrapping up. And Susan, I don't know if you have one more to share your experience.
Rob has a question.
Before we got to go to Rob. Yes, I want to share if Susan, your comment is about this before we go to the last question. Susan, you want to say something about your experience?
No, no.
About your experience. Okay.
Me?
And then we go to
I
Rob.
don't.
Rob, go ahead. Last question.
All right, okay. So thanks guys for sharing that. And good for you for trying to do something creative. Well, it sounds like you kind of had a good collaborative experience. So thank you for that. What I'm curious about is what was the thinking behind the decision to use an AI voice in the video? Because to me, kind of coaching is kind of the polar opposite of that. It's it's the human touch, and conveying that is one of the kind of key things. So what were you thinking when you decided to use an AI voice?
Time.
Yeah, time and resources. Who was going to volunteer to record their voice? And we wanted to be able to make adjustments. And with a person reading, you have to go back and re-record every single time. With AI, we could easily just change a couple words and see how it comes out.
Right.
So I think going forward, Rob, we would actually, with the benefit of your input and feedback, we can actually take that away. And once we have finalized, let's say, more of a sort of solid script, then we could actually look at options to either record it ourselves or hire a voice actor.
Right. I mean, to me, sorry, go on.
It depends on your target. You have to define when you're creating the video, who is your target? What are you wanting to achieve from this video that you're creating? You have to actually plan that out. So you have to script that and then decide, okay, how do I want that to come across to the target? So again, you have to think from that market perspective. And
right. I mean, I don't know how this kind of strikes people, but to me, as soon as I hear an AI voice in a video, it's off-putting. And I'm tempted to just kind of click off it, because if somebody can't invest the time to give me a human voice, then I kind of feel I'm not very interested, to be honest. So personally, I think that is worth the time, perhaps even more than graphics and other things.
Thank you for the feedback. I think that is a good feedback for everybody, like in the future. And maybe I got inspired to do some videos myself. So I hope that this also inspire other people here to go and use these resources and do videos for your business that can help you. And using your own voice when it's appropriate can be a good strategy. We need to wrap up because we need to go to the next team. So congratulations, great work, great presentation. Let's move on to the other team. Let's recognize this team. I don't know the way that you want, with your hands, with your comments in the chat, whatever you want to do it. So in this new team, who are going to be presenting and who needs to be co-host? So I can make you co-host to present. Anybody? You going to be presenting the PowerPoint or do anything?
That's Brian, but actually I came on, you probably see me too. Let me change my other name.
Okay, you already made your co-host. Okay, great. So do you want everybody to keep the cameras on, or do you want us just to keep the team on?
Camera's on for now.
Okay, okay. Are you supposed to have some sound? It's not coming out.
No, just.
Okay.
Oh. Give me a second. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for this opportunity to start our presentation for Team Suzy. And just by chance, it's not a team coaching skill necessarily to do Zoom surveys like this with 1 to 5 options, but we're starting the same way. And what we'd like to do is ask you this: how well do you deal with conflict? So please do this. In the chat box, write the number that best describes your relationship with conflict. Okay, Brett's given us a 4 already. Are you a 1? Do you avoid it at all costs? Oh, there is a 1 coming in. Do you confront it but with anxiety? Are you neutral? Are you comfortable with conflict? Or do you seek out conflict to learn? All right. Oh, we've got 2 to 4 depending upon the situation. All right. Thank you. So let's understand some of your thoughts about conflicts.
Hey, Brian, can I interrupt for a second?
Wes, I'm in the middle of doing this.
Well, aren't we supposed to go to the agenda slide at this point?
Well, I mean, we're going to get there. We wrote in the WhatsApp that this is the way that we would start, right?
I don't think we didn't contract for that. I don't think. Did we?
Can you just let him do his thing?
Okay. All right. Fine. We didn't agree on it, but okay.
Well, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah. I mean, when everybody just interrupts like this, I'm just, I think I just screw it.
All right. Well, thank you for enduring our dramatic reenactment of our pivotal session 5, where conflict boiled over, and it was a tense moment. So if it was awkward for you, imagine what it was for the team coach who was there in our presence. But it was also a reset point for us, and this is our story of that experience, our experience with conflict. So we'll go through a little bit of that process where we noticed but ignored at first the conflict that was brewing within the team. And then how our esteemed coach, Susie, helped surface that conflict, how we came together and normalized it, and finally how we grew as a team, as individuals, and as team coaches through this experience of conflict. So to get us started, I'm going to hand it over to Anthony.
Thanks, Wes. So we met on day 1, which was back in March, middle of March. That first day, I remember it very well. We came in as a newly formed team, and we had these kind of first day at school vibes where we were looking at each other. I can remember kind of sizing each other up. There was that kind of unspokenness about that first meeting. And as the weeks and sessions continued through the next 3 sessions, as we move on to the next slide, we could feel that we had an outward civility, but inwardly a tension was beginning to appear. And the tension played out in our communication patterns. The team, however, were reluctant to address the issue head on. So as the sessions continued, I personally, going back to Brian's original question, I personally tend to choose option 1. I avoid conflict at all costs. And I think living in Japan for so many years has kind of helped me in this process, or facilitate this process for me. So even though I couldn't avoid it because I had a kind of somatic response to the conflicts. And I was getting a headache after each meeting. Finally, in session 4, the team agreed that there was something there, but there was no clarity of what that thing was or how to address it. There was even some dark discussion of a plan B. Now, let me tell you about plan B. Plan B was where we meet 30 minutes before today with nothing prepared and just invent something at the last moment. So I really wonder what's happening in that alternative universe right now. Anyway, after session 4, between session 4 and session 5, we went to WhatsApp. And this has been sparsely used up to this point. But now the conversation exploded offline. We discussed many things, but the only thing we could get some agreement on was that we could have a team facilitator for the next session. We thought this was going to be the silver bullet. Nobody rushed to volunteer for this role. Eventually, Brian was nominated and he accepted, although the team did not agree on much clarity for his role before the session. So we move on to session 5. Session 5 was the first session since session 1 when all members were present. It was a new dawn for us. It was a reset. We had some structure and finally we had a facilitator. And we knew that the team was ready to do something different. However, the session did not start well. familiar communication patterns repeated. The team began contesting the meeting agenda, and after less than 30 minutes, the session effectively collapsed. From this point onwards, we could not avoid noticing conflict. Corey, could you move us on, please?
Sure. Thanks, Anthony. So let us start by saying that the coaches who worked with our team didn't have it easy. We appreciate that you didn't drop out of the program because of us. And you all did a great job in dealing with what you had to deal with and how we showed up. And as Wes alluded to, it was in particular a couple of interventions from Super Susie that really helped us to go from breakdown to breakthrough. And this was the beginning of going from the noticing to the surfacing process. The first thing that Susie did was name the dynamic that was showing up, which was that we were tended to lead with our egos, and we were not really listening that much, right? We were just talking about what we thought and what we thought was right. The second really helpful intervention was that in her feedback to the coach in that session where we where everything came to a head, was that one helpful thing would have been to name what our actual commitments were, right? So to name what we were committed to in the meeting as a way to kind of rise out of that conflict. And that was the end of the session. So we didn't do it then, but we did take it on later, particularly in our WhatsApp chat and then into following sessions. And it was really helpful. So we've talked about noticing and surfacing, and before Mohammed talks a little bit more about normalizing and the other steps on conflict, I want to look back through our sessions through the lens of team coach. And of course, with the advantage of hindsight and reflection, there are a couple of things that we believe could have been paid more attention to and supported through coach intervention. And just to be really clear, this is not to point to anything that the coaches should have done differently. It's just what we learned through this and what we might have done in the team coach's seat. So first, as a new team, we really didn't have many connections between us. And so jumping right into team coaching in the first session was bound to be really challenging. And we believe it could have been interesting and likely more effective for a coach in a first session to make the emphasis on team building so that we could start to foster stronger relationships. Because clearly it was something that we need, but wasn't prioritized. Next, our team really had a tendency to go down rabbit holes, a lot of rabbit holes. We could be called Team Rabbit Hole. We have a lot of different interests, and the probably what we needed is more strong prompting in the way of defining purpose. Why are we coming together? Eventually, this happened kind of outside of session again when Wes attended this same group of presentations for a different cohort, was really impressed and brought that to us and said, hey, I want us to rise to this level. And that helped to align us on what we were really there to do and the outcome that we wanted. So that helped us clarify purpose. And then finally, in the first 5 sessions, we never really declared any kind of structure or process or roles in the team. And so this could have been flagged more persistently by a team coach and potentially even offered some kind of a framework of how to do that if we weren't bringing it ourselves. And so the shift happened between session 5, where we kind of gave Brian the opportunity to facilitate, but actually didn't contract around it and then just blew it up, to moving into trying that again in session 6, but actually ahead of time doing some preparation, contracting on what's up, getting ready for what the facilitator's role would actually be, and it ended up working out much better in session 6. Let me pass it on to Mohammed from here.
Thank you, Corey. So I'll go a little bit deeper in terms of explanation. So as Peter Hawkins, as you can see, I think he had our team in mind. our motivation when we hit a crisis in session 5, that's where motivation came to shift. And so the conflict became kind of catalyst for us. And we grew up as a team through this conflict. We were outside our comfort zone. We began to develop self-awareness. Next slide, please, Brian. And so we recognized ego as our obstacle. And from there, we shifted to making conscious commitments to the team. I would like to use a leading voice in the coaching community to explain this. Jim Dethmert from the Conscious Leadership Group. For him, commitment is just an energy inside us, really, that runs through our head, our heart, and our body to our thoughts and feelings and sensations in a particular direction. And also, he says, everybody is always fully committed. So we were always committed from the very first session, but our commitments were before session 5 were different. We're not aware of that. And so the ego part, that was a commitment, but we were unconsciously committed to being right. We were unconsciously committed to be defensive and closed and aggressive. But from there, we shifted through this crisis and we made conscious commitments. So our self-awareness was our ability to tell the truth to ourselves. And so we moved from ego to becoming open and curious and committed to learning. So we made conscious commitments. That was the biggest shift that happened between session 5 and session 6. Very intentional commitment. We moved away from fight or flight most of the time to getting connected in a trusting way with safety. Next slide, please. And so once we made the shift internally, our external aspects fell into place nicely as a team. We created structure, we created roles, distributed roles, distributed leadership, and we had a clear idea about our desired outcomes with full of value and meaning as a team. In fact, session 8, which was the final session, we focused only on task. And as we're talking about a task, we were joking, we were teasing each other, we were being playful with each other, and the activity went so well. We worked very clearly our topic and how we were going to do it. And so eventually, when we look back, we really became a self-coaching team that contracted. And it was through self-reflection, reflecting back, reflecting forward, and that's what happened to us. Next slide, please. And so coming back to Hawkins, this is our learning that we took away as a team. The idea that when things are going well, in our case, session 1, 2, maybe, it was that time that we could focus on our team dynamics in a way. And once that is fixed, that is set well, task becomes easy. So we took only session 8 really to put together the presentation that we're making today. Let me give the floor to chat.
Thank you, Mohammed. So we didn't share this as a how-to on leading a team or coaching a team. Instead, we wanted to share our experience to help fellow coaches, fellow leaders be able to learn from some of our errors and have better outcomes in the future. One quote from Patrick Lencioni, who created the image at the bottom, was, "Because when a team recovers from an incident of destructive conflict, it builds confidence that it can survive such an event, which in turn builds trust."
Generate.
I believe that quotation captures a lot of our team and what happened, that we're stronger because of it. But just like with any team, and he goes on to talk about the benefit in a marriage relationship. After the argument, the closer ties can lead to a stronger relationship. You don't want to have too many destructive conflicts. So we were glad that we were able to kind of have that final one, and then able to move on and have what's on the left side there, the constructive conflict, to help us create this presentation and grow as professional coaches. The four takeaways that we propose is notice, surface, normalize, and grow. Notice that conflict exists. Don't try to jump in too quickly and solve it. Surface, let's identify it, put words to it. And we wanted to highlight the constructive aspect of that. The destructive is a whole different ball game. Normalize, acknowledge that conflict, as this continuum defines it, can be constructive or destructive. So talking about it is a good thing. And then grow, learn from it. Having constructive conflict can lead to more team and individual capacity. And Brian, are you wrapping things up?
I think, Brian, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I was saying, yes, I'm going to wrap things up because that's what we contracted to, and that's what we're going to do. So as you can see, we did move from that initial kind of slide of conflict to being what now? I don't even know how to describe this. We are Japanese school boys and girls, together, having a new romance and clearly new relationships together. So I'd like to pose the question to our audience: how will you deal with conflict in the future, recognizing that from conflict, good things can actually come about, right, when it's constructive conflict? So based upon these insights, hopefully you have gained from our team's presentation. Would you kindly do us the favor of writing an answer in the chat box, or feeling free to speak out at this point?
Do you want to stop sharing the slide so you can see people better?
In a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll jump in again. I was going to type it in, but I'm too hungry to type. It's quite late here in Tampa. I like the idea. I work for a team building company. That's mainly what I do these days, with some leadership, and I'm a coach as well. Haven't gone into that full time or anything. I like that idea of having some sort of team building, or maybe the importance of a relationship before addressing that issue, and somehow building that relationship at least to the point where people feel comfortable enough, or there's enough, that they're willing to make an investment because they at least have something there, some sort of connection. So I thought that was really interesting. that I think your conclusion about, the naming the issue and naming the dynamic that your facilitator come up with, starting with that was great. Having a clear process. So yeah, I thought there was a lot of helpful stuff there. Just out of curiosity, is anybody familiar with the 6 thinking hats? Is that so? I'm just curious. I mean, that's a program I've done a lot. I haven't really used it in coaching or, in real business, but I've taught a program on 6 thinking hats. Is that something you guys would, those of you that are familiar with it, is that something that could help you overcome a lot of those dynamics in the beginning if it were used?
On behalf of the team, I'll say absolutely, yeah. Because many times what's happening is we are seeing that while everybody might be somewhat correct in their assertion as to what to talk about in the moment, we're not always matching. Some are looking more for relationships, some are looking more for process, some are looking more for facts, some are looking more for interpretation. And a very good thing for the team coach is to call that out and to try to get the team members to so focus on the same kind of conversation at the same time. So thinking hats isn't something that we necessarily covered in this program, but would be helpful. Inga, you're raising your hand on that?
Yeah, I'm raising my hand because, first of all, thank you for generously sharing your experience, because I think that this is even though I can imagine that for team coaches at the time, that was hell difficult. I can only imagine that. At the same time, that's such a great learning experience that conflict happens. And sometimes even there is a backlash on the team coach. And what I really loved in your presentation is something which is sometimes overlooked when we look at the team coaching competencies. This mention that there are direct modalities, and at the beginning team coaching is a little bit more direct, and the whole journey is stepping out from that. So even the idea that we knowing a little bit more, we can even suggest some conversations about roles, or maybe say, okay, maybe start with team building, which is not team coaching, but let's start with this, or maybe let's start with something. This is still allowed under the umbrella of the team development, and it's stated if you read team coaching competencies published by ICF, it is even stated there precisely that team coaching is sometimes more direct, and we cannot be afraid of it, yeah, especially when we are experienced team coaches. However, the problem would be if through the whole process team coach stayed too direct, yeah, then it wouldn't be team coaching really. So I'm really grateful for that experience you shared, and as well a lot of empathy for team coaches who are present there. However, I hope that you as well develops through it somehow of, I don't know, I don't want to say thick skin because it's not about that, but some kind of understanding that dynamic between the people in the team, it's very often not about you as a team coach, yeah, it's just about this group here, and your role is to support them in uncovering sometimes some more difficult things, yeah. So thank you, and I love the graphics as well, yeah. Oh my God, so graphics were great. It was easy to recognize who was who as well.
Thank you very much.
Susie, you wanna, as a facilitator, maybe you wanna have some comments?
Yeah, I do. I really liked your presentation, and it was very sincere and honest, and thank you for the Superwoman. I saw you evolve. I saw the conflict coming since session number 2, because you didn't have a clear purpose. And for some of you, the purpose was, let's just do this homework as fast as we can and not spend much time. Others was, let's do something memorable. Others, let's do this. Others, so there wasn't a consensus. I agree, there wasn't either some kind of a bonding or relationship. I have written a few chapters in Damian's books, and I think it can even start in the check-in. The check-in not only is how are you and how are you coming into the space, but it can be sharing something about you. It can be sharing something about the person next to you. It can be about so many other things. So it starts building the relationship from the beginning. So as I saw you evolve, and through my interventions to the coaches, I was trying to sort of inject some of where you could the coach could go to try to unleash this conflict. I think you did a fantastic job. I think you got to a point where you said, we have two sessions to go and we need to put this together. And the other problem I saw is that they were very involved in the outcome and the task. I think this is a group, this team are very go-getters and people that really they really go for results. So they wanted to go for the result, no matter what. But the learnings I want you to take is that this is going to happen with a lot of teams you work with. A lot of teams work very fast and they forget about other things. And this is a good example of things that has happened. I had a conversation with Brian yesterday, I think. It has happened to me in other teams. So I'm really glad you lived it. And it was an experience for you because now you know how you can approach it in a different way. So really congratulations for going from here to here. I'm very proud of this group, how you end up working together, really.
Thank you, Susie.
Thanks, Susie.
Before we finish, sorry, Corey, please.
Let me just jump in. Mark put a question in the chat that I just wanted to speak to and would like the other team members to speak to if they want to. But this idea of hanging in the noticing a little bit more before going to the surface thing and what's the right timing. And I don't think there's a right answer to that. But one of the big takeaways for me in reflecting back on the team was this idea of like over harmonizing. Right. And just to have that be something that you're really looking out for. And this becomes particularly tricky in the Japanese context, right? Because everything is about harmonizing, right? But when we're in maybe in a mixed cultural context or a non-Japanese context, I think that was kind of a clear red flag for us. Five people who are, quite dynamic and have a lot of opinions, spending a lot of time just being in agreement was a good place to really kind of point that out. And that's probably one form of surfacing, but I'd love to hear what the other team members think around that timing of moving from noticing to surfacing.
Yeah, I think there are some questions that coaches can ask when they come in. And even if you haven't worked with the team, especially if you haven't worked with the team for a long time, that's when you can see that what's not normal or what feels strange. And I think as a team coach, all you have to do is just say, I'm sensing something. You don't have to be wedded to that. You can just name it and then ask the team, what do you want to do? What do you want to do about it? I think if you just notice it yourself, but you're not too wedded to it, and then you ask the team what they want to do about it, I think that's a great question that an external team coach can bring to a session, even if they don't know the team very well, especially if they don't know the team very well.
That's a great comment to reinforce. One of the key elements of team coaching is how you do that. So sometimes you don't need to have all of the answers, but you need to have an observation and a question and see what's coming from that. So I think it's a good reminder as we're finishing the program as one of the things that you want to take away to look for opportunities to do that. Wes?
Yeah, I just piggybacking on that. That's kind of what I was going to say with it, same as Anthony, but I think it's bringing it up, and then it's up to the team if they're ready to do it. So that sort of that noticing stage could last longer. And I think one of the things we learned in Anthony was vulnerable sharing of him not being comfortable, at least initially, sort of with conflict. And I think that was something that we learned, and even Anthony and I learned as co-coaches, that we had to have a conversation at a certain speed, right, to sort of surface that and notice it. So I think it's both like the team coach bringing it up and then leaving the space for it, and then it's the individuals finding out what levels they are in terms of those numbers that Brian shared, and when they're ready to do it.
So Chad, and then we need to start wrapping up.
Chad wants to.
Yes, Chad, go ahead.
Okay. So another thought related to the comment was most teams have already existed, or at least they're part of an organization that has existed. And so understanding and asking, hey, what have successful teams done well in the past, and what problems have they had, could help the team surface things early on our team was brand new. There were minimal relationships, so that wouldn't have worked with our team, but that was something that came to mind.
Thank you, Chad, for that. Any last questions or comments before we finish? Inga, and then Mohamed. Mohamed, do you want to go ahead? You're on mute.
One last time on mute.
This, I need a training program for this. The conditioning. So I'm very happy we went through this conflict, but I'm just in retrospect, I wish we had known each other personally, different communication styles, knowing each other at that level would have helped us a lot in not overreacting to each other. So that's the thought that came to me, basically.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohamed. And that's a good reminder for everybody that sometimes the best intervention at the beginning of the process is team building, is doing exercises and activity for people to go to know each other. And as I have the opportunity to listen to 4 of the 7 presentations, you all have something at the beginning of the session to warm up, some check-ins, some questions, some ways to bring people together. Rob, let's see our last question.
Okay, no question. I just want to say thank you to that team, because I really enjoyed that. So to me, that's kind of what coaching is all about, really, like using their own experience and actually having the courage to go through that experience and then turning that experience into something which is kind of structured and creative and presenting that and sharing it with everybody else. I think that's exactly the heart of coaching. So thanks for that, guys. I really appreciated it.
Thank you for coming and joining. You and all of our guests, Brett, Paul, and other guests who are here today. Thank you. And we're going to wrap up this part. We're going to take a 10 minutes break and then